That sun has been deceiving over the last few days. We, along with a good chunk of the United States, dealing with some significant cold. Now, why so much cold? We've got this atmospheric block right now in the Gulf of Alaska, this high pressure, and what that does is, this is the jet stream position right now, is it makes basically all this cold air that is typically pooled up around the North Pole in northern Canada just come on down in that trough. The Arctic front that we've seen move through the region over the last several days now has already pushed into the Gulf of Mexico. So there's a lot of folks dealing with well below average temperatures. Denver today, right now they're at 1 below. Their high temperature was almost 50 degrees below normal for this time of year. But the big story right now, reducing visibility, is not because of the blowing snow or anything like that. We're starting to see some fog develop, and that's going to be the case tonight. We are seeing temperatures all the way down into the 40s into places like Miami, currently at 47 degrees. Earlier today, Billings was just about the same temperature as Miami, Florida. So a lot of folks thinking they can sneak down there and escape the winter. Not with this cold snap. It's making its way all the way down there. And it's such a bummer too, because we have such a dry air mass in place that even though you see the rain coming and you could see the sheets of rain, most of the time it'll evaporate before it reaches the ground. It's called virga. There's a weather term for you, but yeah, our chances have come and gone for the next few days. Enjoy it. We're going to hold on to some milder temperatures into Friday along with the rain, but by Friday night, here comes our next push of Arctic air. That rain will switch over to snow. Saturday looks like a mess across the state of Montana as far as travel goes. Speaking of gloves, get them out. Oh my goodness, it is going to be cold for the next few days. Take a look over the next couple of days. What is going to happen with the temperatures across the country? This is in about a half an hour at 11 o'clock or so. The temperature forecast, just look at how much of the United States this Arctic blast is going to encompass. Our coldest period, folks, is going to be Wednesday morning, where some of us will be approaching record lows. And the scary thing is, you get these snow bands that set up really quick, and it drops a lot of snow in a short amount of time in one particular area. So if you think a driver going on I-90, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, all of a sudden, boom, a wall of snow, and there's accumulation on the roadway. Yeah, take it safe. We do have winter weather advisories out for that particular area.
Well, that bird has a lot to be thankful for.
Kind of like Erin's turkey.
We're not even going to go there. The dog got it tonight. It was thawing in the garage. We're still going to eat it.
It was just
okay.
the bottom part.
It's okay.
These are the best things to remember your Thanksgiving turkey disaster.
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so I will let you know how it turns out, by the way. Over the next 24 hours, we've got some changes headed our way. Our next storm system will approach. That'll bring clouds in by the afternoon, and eventually the evening hours, some snow. Notice that stays south of Interstate 90. That looks to be the bullseye. Today, I was secretly hoping we were going to hit 90, because if we did, it'd be the 6th day in a row of 90-degree or higher temperatures in Missoula, and it doesn't look like we're going to be below 90 for the next several days. So that would have been a huge stretch.
Oh, wow.
But
how disappointing.
darn, we were at 89 for that high. Still felt like 90. However, our ridge of high pressure slowly on the way out, and we will start to see temperatures a little bit closer to average for this time of year as we move to the second part of this week. So the reason for it, we've got this huge dominating ridge of high pressure keeping things very quiet for us and obviously very warm. We're seeing compression, and that is what heats up the air when we get those ridges of high pressure. Now we have this trough of low pressure across the eastern seaboard, and that's what Jill and Mike were just talking about with this monster storm system that has just kind of moved offshore, and it's strengthening. And you can't see it on this map, but when we get those isobars, those lines of equal pressure that get really tight and packed, you see a lot of wind, and boy, that is what we're going to see with this. We've got blizzard warnings all up and down the coastline. They shut down transit in New York City. I mean, that might not sound like a huge deal to us, but if you're a New Yorker, that is an insane thing. So a lot of folks from anywhere from Connecticut to Rhode Island to Massachusetts going to be looking at 1 to 3 feet of snow. For us, again, completely opposite. We've got that big ridge of high pressure keeping us very quiet. Statewide, we had that battle between hot and cold today. While we were in the 50s and 60s, way over in Miles City and Billings, they were at 100 and 101 degrees. Cooling down though for them too as that cold front races through. Notice how things are quieting down pretty significantly though. We lose the sun, we lose that driving force behind some of those popping showers and thunderstorms, so quieting down.
Right, Erin Yost, it's been Christmas for her, I'll be honest, is now at the Storm Tracker Weather Center talking about where the storms are heading now. Erin.
Well, let me tell you, I ran out there with everybody else looking at the window and forgot to put the rain gauge out, so I put it out late, and trust me, I put this out after the majority of that rain came through. This is an official National Weather Service rain gauge 2, measuring, I don't know, you probably can't see this, I might shake it around a little bit for you there too, about 1/1600ths of an inch of rainfall. That was in 17 minutes just outside the studio. Obviously, folks, we're not done with this storm system yet. It's pretty much parked over the Pacific Northwest, ushering in that warm, moist, unstable southwesterly flow. Now, the severe aspect of this storm has shifted to east of the divide. That's where we have severe thunderstorm watches in effect, but obviously we don't need a watch to get some strong thunderstorms west of the divide. So notice, southwesterly flow ahead of that cold front. After it pushes through, we'll see that directional change, and notice how a lot of the activity staying across the northwest part of the state, and that is where the cold front is located right now, that Arctic cold front. Out ahead of it is very warm. Now, cold air is dense, so it's going to sink to the bottom. Warm air out ahead of this low that spins counterclockwise is going to override that cold air, and that just sets the stage for some significant snow. Now, if the United States was playing a snow game right now, Minnesota would be in first place. They've got a place called Cambridge that has seen 16.5 inches. Montana would be in second place. We had 14 inches at Whitefish Mountain Resort. You know, it would be insane if we saw a system of that scope. However, we need to take from that is possible here, especially because we're talking about recent burn scars. And whenever we get a lot of rain in a short amount of time, we can see stuff like that too on a smaller scale. So kind of scary, but for us, looks dry here over the next day or so. Now, this is eventually going to get cut off. So what that means is the jet stream is going to ditch it, and it's going to sit and spin because it's not going to have anything to really move it out of the region. Now, with that in place, it's going to draw up some warmer air into the northern Rockies, so those temperatures are going to skyrocket, and that is concerning for us because those rivers are already running high and fast.
Wow, warm.
I know, right?
You can do some yard work.
You see, I got my sandals
my
on today.
goodness.
Well,
I thought
unless
you were pointing out your
it's 50 below,
suntan.
she usually
Yeah,
wears
definitely
the
don't.
sandals, so yeah. We know you.
It was awesome today, and I know Missoula, we only made it into the low 40s, but I was vicariously living through Hamilton and even Sealy Lake and places like Great Falls that made it well into the upper 60s. Kind of insane for this little January thaw we've got going on. Before we get to the forecast, on top of the cold air, we've got some lake effect snow. Now, this is something that can happen in the state of Montana, Fort Peck, also Flathead Lake. You've got those warmer waters in the Great Lakes region right now, in the Great Lakes, and that colder air and just the right wind direction is producing that lake effect snow, and a lot of folks over there are going to be dealing with that over the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, you know, it would be insane if we saw a system of that scope. However, we need to take from that is possible here, especially because we're talking about recent burn scars, and whenever we get a lot of rain in a short amount of time, we can see stuff like that too on a smaller scale. So kind of scary, but for us, looks dry here over the next day or so. Before we get to the forecast, Amy, thank you so much for this shot. This was actually taken this morning, the missions above St. Ignatius. If you're driving north on 93, don't tell me you don't think this is one of the most beautiful views you have ever seen in your life. When you come up that hill right into St. Ignatius, that has got to be one of the coolest reveals out there. That is for sure. Amy, again, thanks for sharing that one. This one from Jardy, yesterday's view of Missoula from up high. This was taken on Blue Mountain. Kind of a cool shot because you can see that snow line very, very visible across Mount Jumbo and Mount Sentinel there, just above the L and the M. We saw a lot of sunshine today across western Montana. Little foggy start for a lot of us, especially in the northwest part of the state, and it took a while to shake that fog. However, a lot of us seeing ample sunshine as some high pressure has built in, sort of in between systems. Nationwide, we are seeing this very impressive mid-latitude cyclone. This is a low pressure system, and this is actually the one that left the southwest over this weekend. It trucked right across the nation's midsection. Yesterday, we had a little bit of severe weather. Today, that threat is still there, albeit not as strong, and the temperature differences associated with this system are just insane. You can see the colder side where we're seeing snow now stretching from Minneapolis, northern portions of Minnesota, all the way into Nebraska, but the warmer side where we're seeing the rain and some of that severe weather. Earlier today, Minneapolis recorded a record warm low. So they hit 51 for that overnight low. It was about 10 degrees warmer than Orlando, Florida this morning. So kind of wacky weather across the country right now. We, though, are enjoying what we have right now. A lot of sunshine as we sit in between systems. Let's go ahead and take a look at that time lapse in Missoula from our St. Patrick Hospital iCam Gorgeous, gorgeous day, all that beautiful sunshine. 32 our current temp. 34 is where we topped out at. That's 4 degrees above average. We've got 26 already in Kalispell. We topped out at 34, 5 degrees above average. 28 in Knoxon and Stevensville, 25 currently in Columbia Falls, and 31 in Hamilton. A lot of folks though, teens, 20s, you're lucky if you're in the low 30s, and we're still seeing quite a bit of fog across the High Line, reducing visibilities also in Lincoln County. Tonight, teens to low 20s, and clouds will be on the increase as the evening progresses. Now those clouds aren't going to have a whole lot of snow in them just quite yet. We might see some light snow across the southwest quarter of the state by tomorrow evening and into Wednesday morning. But with that said, not anticipating any huge impacts. Highs tomorrow right around average, upper 20s to low 30s across the region. So now this is Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday afternoon. Again, that focus kind of misses out on the majority of our viewing area, and we see another one of those lulls in this forecast for us as we move into Wednesday evening. So all in all, pretty quiet weather pattern here for the rest of this work week. Very minimal chances of seeing any moisture, and if we do see any, it does look to be relatively light. All the while, those temperatures will be very close to the normal, which is right around 30 degrees for this time of year. Could see some flurries across the northwest part of the state on Thursday, one of those better chances for some light moisture. Right now, it does look like by the next weekend, maybe Sunday, which is fitting because it's the first official day of winter, we might be talking snow. That's still a long ways away though, so we'll keep you posted, but it's a potential.